All right, welcome to another webinar. I'm here with Derek. My name's Jason, CEO and founder of Tarvent. And Derek, I'll let you introduce yourself.
Yeah, I'm one of the co-founders of Tarvent, mostly on the front end side and also support. So if you've ever reached out to support, it's most likely me you've talked to. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So I was gonna say, we went on a hike on Sunday, and for anybody that hasn't been out to Colorado, you definitely need to come out to Colorado. It is an absolutely awesome state. Lived here about 6 years, and it's just you get in the mountains and kind of lose yourself from the world, and it's definitely a nice area. I mean, I'm a little bit sore, that's for sure, but the hike we did was like Stairmaster in the mountains, but it was good. So we had a good time. But anyway, so I guess to get started, company updates, because we want to keep these a little bit shorter than we have in the past. But company updates, there's a lot of UI changes that were made. Well, not a lot, but there's definitely some UI changes that were made. User interface. So I say UI, but that's just the user interface. A lot of what Derek works on. So Derek, I'll kind of let you jump in, and I'll let you talk about those, especially since you're the one that did them.
yeah, yeah. So there's just a couple changes we pushed this last week. Some of the ones that, and all these were requested by customers, so which is really nice. We love pushing functionality that's customer feedback. So just some of the things that we changed is instead of on the list pages, we had save as new campaign or save as new journey. We simplify that and just call it a duplicate now. So you can duplicate your campaign, you can duplicate your journey, whatever else, but we just simplified that because that seems to be a standard that we just missed when we added this into our tool. So now if you want to copy a campaign or copy a journey or whatever else, you can just click those three dots on the list page, and then you'll see the option for duplicate instead of save as new, whatever. And then we also added some presets into contact activity. We had some feedback from customers where they wanted to make it easier to see activity for the past 60 days or past 3 months or whatever. So we added more presets into that contact activity area to make it easier to select those date ranges. So you don't have to keep going in, opening up the date range picker and selecting the start and end date, which just takes a lot of time. And another thing we did is we removed the need to type delete for everything. So if you're going to delete something, we used to have a dialog that says type delete to confirm that you're going to delete this item. And so we have it on some items within the system that are really important. So like if you're going to delete an audience or delete a data field where it's going to delete a lot of data, we still have that safeguard in place because you really don't want to delete that if you're not trying to. But in most areas of the system, you won't have to type delete to delete anything anymore. It's just you'll hit delete and then you'll confirm it and that's it. But no need to type delete. And then the other thing we added is the default account level language. So this was more important for people that are not speaking English because our platform is in English right now. But you can now specify a language in your account settings so that anytime you create a campaign or anything that needs a language, it'll pull from that default account language instead of you having to go in and create a campaign and then select that language every time. So, and there's some other things we pushed as well. And again, this is all feedback from you guys. So you'll see some things in the UI change that'll just make your life easier, a lot less clicks, and just easier to navigate the system and manage your stuff. So,
Yeah. So back on that delete, the one thing on the delete that we've run into in the past, and I know we made a change to that, is in the audience. So people would delete the audience, and there's like 3 or 4 check boxes that you have to check before you delete it. And then you have to type the word delete to delete an audience. And so people do that. We do it as a soft delete, meaning that we still have all the data on the backside for a while before we permanently delete that data. But if you do delete it and ask us to put that back, just know it's going to take a little time because there's a lot of things behind the scenes. So even though it's a soft delete, there are some things around that that are done that we have to, adding that back is just not that easy. So if you guys do ask for that to be undeleted, just know that it might be 24 to 48 hours to get that undeleted, just because of some of the stuff around that, especially in regards to security. So anyway, but we
Yeah.
did try to make deleting things a lot easier, especially common things that you don't want to have to type delete every time. That was just us being overly cautious, making sure if you really want to delete it, that you'll take the time to type the word delete. But I think we went a little bit overboard. So live
Yeah.
and
And
learn.
on that audience delete, if you guys see checkboxes on a delete screen, just make sure to read them. We're not trying to make it harder for you to do it. We're just trying to make sure you guys know what is going to happen. So if you're on a delete screen, it seems unusual. Like why do I have to click so many things? Just please read those things, because we put them there just to make sure you know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So
I mean, we do try to make it a little hard if it's something
yeah,
significant, but yeah. So anyway, but yeah, so there's some other things that we fixed. We won't go into all the little tiny bug and performance enhancements because that's just an ongoing thing. Would love to have a bug-free system, but like we've always said, a bug-free system is the one that isn't built. So um, it's just gonna be how it is, and we never like bugs. Believe me, we don't just push things knowing that there's bugs. We just push things and we do as much testing. But anyway, so yeah, so those are kind of the enhancements we did this last week. We have some bigger things going on, so we kind of have we don't have as many big new things that are going on because it takes a little bit more than a week or two to get some of these things done. But we have some bigger things in the works that we are working on. So more to come on that. As far as the blog review, so 5 automation mistakes that are costly or that are costing your conversion. So pushed that blog on Thursday last week, and yeah, last week. Gosh, getting my days messed up here. So Thursday last week. It's a really good blog. I mean, I guess I say that about all of our blogs, but why push a blog if it isn't really good? So anyway, so it is a good blog. Brings up a ton of mistakes, or I guess not a ton, but 5. So it brings up some mistakes that people make, and it is good, even if you've done automation for a while. Same thing in our, for us, as far as automation or programming or whatever it is that you're doing, it's always good to get back to the basics sometimes and have a refresher just to remind you. But anyway, with that, Derek, what do you think about the blog? What stood out to you?
yeah. To me, it's just kind of a good reminder for just automation in general. And honestly, if you read through the blog, you'll kind of see it's very similar to maintaining a personal relationship. So a lot of the things that it brings up in the blog is just, it's kind of interesting because when you are doing marketing automation, you are dealing with other people and you are dealing with relationships with your customers. So there's just certain things you wouldn't do in your personal life that you also shouldn't do in your professional life with automating your marketing. And it really just talks about, like, kind of, once you get a new customer on board, you don't want to just flood them with a bunch of new information or flood them with a bunch of things you want them to do. Because it's just like, if you meet someone and then you just start asking them to do a bunch of things, they're probably not going to want to maintain that relationship for much longer because you're just asking them too much too soon. And so the blog kind of just goes through kind of building that relationship with your customer and just making sure you don't do some things that could cause that relationship to go away in the early stages. So it talks about building your welcome series. It talks about not asking too much too soon. So as soon as someone signs up, don't ask them to just buy something right away. Just kind of introduce them to your company and get them into that flow. And yeah, I mean, it just kind of reiterates what we've been talking about the past couple of weeks. Just set up your automations, test them. Don't just set it up and forget it. You got to test it and then see what works and what doesn't, and then make sure to personalize, because that's another thing it talks in the blog is just, you got to personalize your messaging. If you're not personalizing your messaging, especially in 2025, you're definitely behind on where you should be when it comes to marketing to your customers. It should be a personal experience at this point based off of behaviors or their data or whatever else. So yeah, I just
Yeah.
thought it was a good blog for all the reminders of what you should do when setting up your automations.
I mean, that set it and forget it and not to do that is definitely good. You set it up, you might test it and you get it all ready and then you have it going. It's good to go back in. We've got that visual flow report that kind of shows most popular path and where people are leaving the journey and that sort of thing. So it's a really good report to look at every once in a while, just to kind of remind yourself of, or just to kind of touch base with your journey to see where it's at. It'd be like having an employee. Every once in a while, you're going to want to talk to that employee to make sure everything's going well. Well, these automations are just like an employee. They're doing work for you on your behalf. So it's good to look at those flow reports and some of the other reports that are in there, just to make sure that things are going as you would expect them to go. And if they aren't, then make adjustments and move on. So, so it's not, I mean, it was a good blog. There's really simple things that don't take a lot of time, but we get it because we're right in the same boat as most of you guys. You're trying to run a business. You're trying to do a million things at one time. So it tends to be a little bit tough. So that's where we try to make it as absolutely as easy as possible to get in, check it out, see what you need to see, and get out of it quick, so you don't have to spend a bunch of time and you can get back to your normal day job. So anyway, especially if you don't have a dedicated marketing person. If you have a dedicated marketing person, that is their job. So a little bit different for those folks. But anyway, so yeah, it's a good blog to check out. So I highly advise you doing that. You can see a link to the blog in the description of this video. So look below when you get a chance, and you can check out the latest blog on there. So let's get to questions. So we've got a few questions that came through. So kind of talk about those. And I guess, Derek, why don't you take the first two, I guess?
Yeah. All right. So let's see the first one here. How can I export campaign events? Yeah. So this was a question that came up in support this past week. Oh, yeah. There we go. All right. So yeah, I'm in the campaign report. I guess I'll show you where I went to it. So just from the dashboard, I clicked on the recent campaign, and this opens up the campaign report. So if you want to export campaign events, whether that be opens, clicks, or whatever other event, you come into the campaign report, and then you'll see this icon up here. So it looks like a file with an arrow pointing to the right. So this opens up an export screen, and this is where you can export the campaign logs or campaign events. So in here, you can pick what fields you want to export for each contact. And then you can also pick what behaviors. So by default, it'll have all behaviors, but you can go to selected and then pick if you only want opens or you only want clicks, then you can select this and then select that checkbox. And then, yeah, so then once you hit export, then you'll see a notification with the ability to download that file. And then that's how you do export those logs. So,
all right. Pretty easy.
Yeah.
At least we hope so.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the next one, how can I integrate Tarvent and WooCommerce? Yeah. So right now we have two options. We don't have native integration with WooCommerce, meaning Tarvent doesn't connect directly to WooCommerce right now. That's on the roadmap, just not something we have currently. So to integrate with WooCommerce, you have two options. You can either go through a integration platform, so that'd be like Zapier, Make. There's so many out there to choose from. But anyway, so you go through one of those integration platforms, or you can use our inbound webhooks. So if you're using WooCommerce just to capture contact data, and they support sending data to a webhook. I'm not sure if WooCommerce does, but if they do support sending data to a webhook, then you can go into your audience. If you want like a more in-depth on our inbound webhooks, you can go back, I think it's 2 or 3 webinars we did a walkthrough. But anyway, so you can go into your audience, set up this inbound webhook, and then give that to WooCommerce to send data to add your contacts. But that would only be if you're using WooCommerce to get contact data to add contacts into your audience. But if you want a more general integration, then you'd have to use an integration platform like Zapier, Make, Active Pieces, and yeah, all those.
So. Yeah, with those, I mean, obviously there's a ton of things you can do with WooCommerce and Tarvent if you use an integrator, because we have such an extensive integration with them. And then WooCommerce also has a really extensive integration. So when you tie those two together within platforms like Zapier and Make, there's a lot of things that you can do within there. So the native integration will save some money once we have that built, because that integration will be tied in. You won't have to pay Zapier or Make or any of these, but for now, that's how it's set up. So definitely take a look at those integrations, because it does give you a whole lot of capability that you're able to do with WooCommerce or BigCommerce, or just any of the different e-commerce platforms that are out there. So all right, so let's see. How can I get all contacts that did not open my previous campaign? I guess, Derek, since you have got the screen, then I'm going to let you kind of go for that. But while Derek is navigating over to that, that's just, best way to do that is with segmentation. So
Yeah. So there's a couple ways to do this. I'll just show you through segments, and then I'll show you something cool that we have in campaign report. But in here, you can just create a segment or did not open X campaign. So in here, then, so after you specify the name, then you can add a rule. So we're trying to do a segment of all the contacts that did not open a previous campaign. So you'd scroll down in this field area. We have a lot of options. It's just all the fields available. You go to this contact activity section, and you can click contact activity. So then once you click campaign activity, then you can select the operator. So in this case, we want did not open. And then here is where you'd pick a campaign. So in here, we have a bunch of options. You can do any in the last 5 campaigns, all of the last 5 campaigns, any within the last X time period. So like 1 month, for example, or you can pick a specific campaign. So in this case, we'll pick product launch pizza platter copy. So this is the rule you'd set up. So you'd say campaign activity did not open, and then you'd select the specific campaign that you want to get the did not opens for. So that's how you do it in a segment. And then just one thing I want to show you quick that's cool in a campaign report is if you go into a campaign report and then go to opens, then in here, you'll see this little paper plane icon. So if you click this, then it'll give you 2 options. You can send a campaign to contacts that open the campaign, or you can send campaign to contacts that did not open. So then when you select this, it's going to open up the screen to create a new campaign. But basically behind the scenes, what it's doing is it's creating that segment that I just showed you for you, and then it'll assign that segment to the campaign that's created. So this is just a quicker way to do it. If you don't want to set up the segment first, then create a campaign, you can just speed that up by going into the report, clicking this, and click the option that you want.
So, yeah, that's actually available for opens and link clicks and all the different activity that we have in the campaign report. So yeah, but the question was on opens, but yeah, we have that available everywhere. So, all right. So the next question is, when should I use a survey instead of a sign-up form or a profile update form? So that one we don't really need to show on the UI, but so basically a survey is to put that on your website or to send it out in an email. But typically it's going to be something, well, it's going to be either way. So, some people will have it available on their website. Some people are going to have it in an email that you send out. If it's in an email, it's known, or the contact is known. So a survey can go out to people that know you, otherwise, or that otherwise, if it's linked on your website, then anybody can take the survey. They don't have to be a contact in your account. So there's plenty of survey systems out there. Ours offers a little more basic survey options than compared to a dedicated survey solution. But you're going to want to use a survey if you want to capture contact, or if you want to capture answers from anybody and everybody. They don't have to be contacts that you know of. Sign-up forms, on the other hand, are going to be kind of the same thing, but a sign-up actually creates a contact in the system. Surveys don't create contacts. They can update an existing contact, and there's some stuff around that we won't get into right now. But so you can update an existing contact with a survey, or an unknown user can can submit a survey, and that's just fine. But it won't add them to your contact list because it's a survey and not a sign-up page. So if you're meaning to have people sign up and get added to your list, then you're going to want to use a sign up page or an opt-in form or what have you. Otherwise, if you're just wanting to ask some questions and you want to get those answers back, then you can use a survey. Now, a profile update form, the profile update is meant to update existing contacts that you know of, that you have in your list. So people can update their contact information. So as you can see, there's a lot of overlap. So a survey can update a contact or not. But a survey cannot add a contact or a unknown contact. It cannot add them to your audience. That's only something a sign up form can do. So a survey and a profile update form, those are different because a profile update form only allows you to ask questions to populate the data fields or the profile fields of a contact, where a survey can ask questions that aren't mapped to anything. So you could just ask questions about what have you. So really kind of depends on what your goal is, but really a survey form can update contacts, but they can ask questions that aren't associated with data fields. A sign-up form, you can add a new contact that is not previously known. And then an update form just allows you to update an existing contact, but only the fields that you have set up as data fields. So using a lot of terms here that are, well, somewhat proprietary to us. I mean, I think that we split it out as far as calling profile fields and data fields. They're really kind of the same thing. So a data field is for an audience, and a subscriber has profile fields, which is just the data field and the answer. So and a data field could be like first name. So that, just to give you an example of what that data field is. So hopefully that makes sense. I didn't just confuse everybody. So if you have any questions on that, leave a comment below or submit a question to support, or hopefully you could just watch this video again and it'll make more sense. If not, I apologize. But yeah, it does get a little bit confusing because we made surveys so they can update contact information if you want. Because what we don't want is we don't want you to have to take a survey, have to export that data, and then re-import it just to update somebody's contact. So we wanted to make it so you could do that all at the same time. But because of that, some people have they're like, well, if it can update, then maybe it can add, and that it cannot do. So hopefully that answers that question. So all right, so the next question here. How can I add a merge tag to my campaign content? So Derek, since you got the screen, I'll let you show that. And while he's pulling up a campaign to get to that, so those merge tags, you can use them all over the place within a campaign. So you can use them within the content, you can use them within or the body of the email. You can also use them in your subject and your pre-header information. The cool thing about using it in the from is you can actually use it for the from email address and the from name. So if you're an organization that has a bunch of sales agents and you want that email to look like it's coming from each individual sales agent, you can do that. You just add the sales agent information to the contact's profile that we were just talking about earlier. So you'd add a data field called salesperson name and salesperson email. You'd have those two data fields, and then when you either import or add or however you're going to get contacts in, you'll add those in, and then you can use that personalization to make it look like it's coming from that salesperson. So anyway, there's a lot of areas you can use that. So Derek, I'll hand it off to you, and you can kind of show how to do that in the platform.
Yeah. So I just pulled up a campaign here. So I'm just in a text element. So if you're in a text element, then how you add in a merge tag is you'll click where you want to add it in. And then you'll click this icon up here. So we use this icon throughout the system, kind of like what Jason was saying. So anywhere you see this icon, whether it be in the subject line or the from name, this icon will always mean to insert a merge tag. So it's just like this dude with a little cog next to it. So that's what you'll click, and then this will open up a wizard. So in here, you'll select your data location. So this is just where it's pulling the data from. So if you want to insert account data, or contact data, or campaign data, or miscellaneous, then you can pick from one of these options. So I'll just use contact because that's the most common one. So I'll pick contact, and then in here you can pick what data field you want to insert. So if it's email, first name, and then your custom fields will be down here. So I'll just pick first name for this. And then in here you can specify default value. So if you have a contact that doesn't have a first name, then and you specify this default value, then that's what will be inserted in place of that merge tag when the email is sent. And then the last thing that's cool about this wizard is we have these things called functions, or data formatters is another way to refer to them. But anyways, so you can pick a function. So if you import your data and the first name is in all caps, for example, but you want to show it in title case to kind of make it look more standard, then you can pick a function to say make title case. And then that will convert the string or convert that text. So from all caps to this title case format. So in this case, if it was DEREK in all caps, then it would show DEREK, but only with the D capitalized. So we have a bunch of these formatters, and this applies to text. It applies to dates. You can format dates in a bunch of different ways. You can format numbers in a bunch of different ways. So if you're looking to format your data, you don't necessarily need to re-import your data. Just look at what formatters or functions we have available. And yeah, that can help speed up that process. Because I know in a lot of other systems, if your data is not formatted the way you want to, then you have to update your Excel file, then re-import all that data to make sure the formatting is correct. So that's why we have these functions to make it easier, so you don't have to do that.
Yep.
So yeah, that's how you do it in like a text element. And then if you go into from and subject, I'll just show you another way. So this is what we were talking about. So you can come in here, click this icon, and it's the same wizard. So in the from name to insert personalization, you click that icon, go through the same process that we just went through, and then that adds it into the from name. And if you want to do for the from email, then in your sending domain, you can pick from data field. So then once you pick from data field, then you can select what field that's for. Note, the only thing to note about this is you have to pick the email data type when setting up that data field for it to show in this area. If it's a text data field, it won't show up. So it has to be that email data type. And
right.
yeah, I think that covers all the personalization.
Yeah. So, all right, 2 more questions left. And so I'm going to kind of flip the order of these questions. So first question is, why isn't Tarvent bug free? That's a good question. I mean, I laugh only because I don't think I've used a system yet that is bug free. It would be awesome. I mean, we've got Microsoft who's got thousands and thousands of programmers, and there are still bugs in Windows. Same thing in Apple or any other system out there. So I'm not picking on any one particular system. It's just the nature of the beast. And so that's kind of with us. And some people, we're not bug free. And then, like I think I said in the beginning, a bug free system is a system that hasn't been built, because it is the case. And so sometimes people think, oh, well, you guys released this and you didn't even test it. No, we did test it, but the thing with coding is that you have to test for every scenario under the sun. And every once in a while, we don't think of a scenario that you're going to use. And with you using that scenario, there may be a bug, or we have to balance it. So, there might be 100 different scenarios, but writing test cases for all those scenarios takes time. And so we have to balance that out with, what's the likelihood of that scenario ever happening, and, what's the cost involved and all that kind of stuff. So at the end of the day, that scenario of us, kind of avoiding testing because of the cost is a very, very small percentage of the time. The most percentage of the time is because you guys are creative, just like everybody else out there. No two people think the same. And so sometimes you guys are going to come up with scenarios that we just didn't think about. And so we appreciate your guys' patience if you do run into a bug, and we will get them fixed as fast as we possibly can. Every once in a while, you guys come up with a scenario that just blows up in our faces, in the sense that it seems small, but then it impacts a whole bunch of things. And those are always kind of a nightmare scenario for us, just because we know it's going to take a little bit. But in most cases, that's very, very rare that happens. But anyway, so we're not bug free. Any system that claims they're bug free, I guarantee you that anybody can go in there, especially programmer types that kind of know how systems are supposed to work and interact. They're going to be able to find bugs. So it's just kind of how it goes. So wish we can get to bug free, and that's our goal. But we're just going to keep working towards that. So now this last question is, and this one I love personally, but I really like Tarvent. How can I help it grow? We love that because we work as hard as we possibly can to get Tarvent to grow, and we're doing a pretty decent job. Always want to do better. If you guys are willing to help, that is absolutely awesome, and we greatly appreciate that. And we have had a lot of people ask about that. So with that, that's always an indication to us that we need to make it easier, because if you're asking the questions, because you probably didn't find it. Hopefully that's the case. Hopefully the case is you just didn't look and you rather ask us, which we're totally okay with that. But if you looked and couldn't find it, that's our bad. So anyway, so this kind of goes in line with, our affiliate program. So at the top, and kind of Derek can show where it's at, but if you click on your user at the top, we have two options. So you can become an affiliate, or you can refer a friend. So the refer a friend is just a great way. You can send a link to your friend, post it anywhere that you are, talking to your audience. You can refer them. We'll send you a gift card as a thank you for accounts that sign up and pay for an account with us. So there's a couple different options. And so with that, we love people to sign up as affiliates, because refer a friend, you get a one-time gift card. If you sign up as an affiliate, well, that's a whole different game, because now you're going to make money every single month, anywhere from 20 to 30%, based on how much that account has to pay for their plan. So the more contacts an account brings, the higher the cost and the more money that you make every month. But you do make that money for the life of the account. We've seen some affiliate programs that are you get paid for the first 6 months or the first year, or there's a limit. Our limit is when that account leaves. So, or you're no longer an affiliate, one of the two. But otherwise, we're going to pay you every month for based on the cost of that account. So we hope you sign up as an affiliate or refer a friend. But in either case, if you're willing to help us grow, we greatly appreciate it. And especially when it comes to the affiliate program, if you ever want us to help out in any way, shape, or form, we are more than happy to do that, because you're an extension of our team, and we are always here to support our team. So with that, another way you can support us is to like and subscribe. That helps you, so you know when our next webinar is going to be, and when we post different videos. But it also lets us know that you like us and that our audience is growing. So we encourage you to also ask questions. So you can ask questions. Is kind of what this whole webinar is about. So if you have any questions, submit them to support. Go to our website, tarvent.com/webinar, and you can submit a question there. So there's many different ways. You can do it through social media or what have you. We're on a ton of social media platforms, so we'd love for you to follow us on the different platforms. And as usual, we do these webinars every Tuesday at 10 o'clock. So our next webinar is going to be on the 24th at 10 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, since we're in Colorado. So with that, I think that's about it. And yeah, Derek, is there anything that I forgot? Or
No, I think that covers it.
all right.
Yeah, if you guys like the tool, become an affiliate. We'd love to have you guys as an affiliate and spreading the word. So
Yep. Otherwise, we're going to get back to work and try to get some features added that you guys keep asking for, and keep making Tarvent better, hopefully bug free. So until next time, have a great week, and we will talk to you next week.
Yeah, see ya.